Good evening, everyone. My name is Shahid. It's so good to see you after this whole 2 years of lockdown and working from home. It's so nice to see people coming out, and this is one of our face-to-face event, rather physical event after a long time. So welcome. I can see some new faces. Welcome to everyone. Hari, thanks a lot for helping us with this recording. Thank you, Debashish. Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you, Preeti, for being part of this panel discussion. There has been a power shift from provider to partner due to rise in customer expectations, and partners now have more choice of providers. To win partner mindshare and for future growth, companies must co-innovate, co-invest, and collaborate across the ecosystem. Driven by greater customer pressure to provide customized technology-driven solutions, 89% of partners are looking for new sources of growth. We all agree, partners' ecosystem is very crucial to the next level of growth, scale, and innovation. How about we ask our guest, how is partner ecosystem helping them in this discussion, role of partner ecosystem in a digital world? So welcome, and welcome our panelists. Before I start, I will quickly like to introduce, I'm sure they don't need any introduction, but nevertheless, I will just do the formality. I'm going to start with Shrikant. By the way, I want to apologize because Neha, who was supposed to be on the panel, she had an urgent call to take, so she asked us to excuse her, and so we're going to be 4 of us today. So Shrikant leads the alliances team at TCS. He has more than 30 years of experience with various IT services and product companies. He has steered and managed major relationships likes of Oracle, JD, PeopleSoft in the last 19 years. Debashish Chakravarti, welcome. He is a management professional with 24 years of rich experience in managing global strategic alliances, building partnerships, business development roles, and leading multiple strategic initiatives in the space of IT, telecom, data centers, smart cities, energy management, internet service provider, system integration, and so on and so forth. Currently, he is leading the strategic initiatives of digital transformation through partnerships, building Schneider's partner ecosystem. Preeti, welcome. Preeti has over 25 years of experience working with MNCs like AT&T and startups like OvoPay, which is now Indifferent, Appnomic, and Heal. She also had the opportunity of converting a hobby into a profession for a little while. She started an organization called Akriti, which used wall as a canvas and brought Madhubani and Kalamkari Warli art forms to life on the walls. She got featured in Femina, Bangalore Mirror, Deccan Herald, Mother and Me, and such editorials. So welcome, Preeti, again. And okay, by the way, I forgot to mention that she is right now working as VP for Partner and Customer Success at Indifin Technologies. So, before I start, and we all know how important is ecosystem for all of us. And if you see, traditionally, companies have owned and controlled the delivery of their core product and service offerings so far. They have analyzed customer needs, led innovation in-house, and delivered their offerings through largely transactional relationships with distribution partners. But in the Industry 4.0 era, driven by a shift in customer expectations from product delivery to the enablement of outcomes, companies are increasingly realizing the need for redefining their offerings and accelerate and broaden innovation and deliver solutions in partnership with ecosystem partners. So, no longer a single organization is driving the innovation and growth. It is time for us to partner with ecosystem partners and build that ecosystem so that we can accelerate growth faster and even innovate faster. So I want to ask our panelists, Industry 4.0 is driven by a shift in customer expectations, no doubt about it. I am sure you have redefined your offerings based on the outcome-based offerings. But can you explain why the role of partner ecosystem is critical to stay ahead of the game, and how does a partner ecosystem benefit a business? Anybody can take that.
So, like as you mentioned, Shahid, that in today's world, it's clear, and it's evidently getting more clearer that no one organization can do everything. That's only getting more clearer. And with this pandemic that we have faced, over the last 18 months, organizations are trying to address the new challenges, right? And new challenges could be anything, starting from a new offer to a supply chain issue to anything. So I would say that the most critical thing which I experienced was in any partnership, whether it is big or small, a startup or a very large, multinational partner. I think the key glue to that success of that partnership has always been, and it has been emphasized even more during this last 1.5 to 2 years, is the co-innovation part which you just mentioned briefly. Because if you do not co-innovate, right, then the stickiness of the partnership would not help you to retain that partnership for long. It will not help you to get a buy-in internally, and which will definitely not elongate the life of that partnership. So if you ask me, from my experience, co-innovation is the core for any partnership to be successful, whether big or small.
Okay, interesting.
I think just to add to what Devashish said, it's very important for the corporates to now shed the bulk, right, and go lean and go agile, right? And they can't do it if they adopt that I want to do it kind of a model, all right. So they have to kind of rely on the partner ecosystem now. So,
absolutely, absolutely. That's a good go lean and go agile. Srikanth, what do you think?
Yeah, see I always believe that partner ecosystems have a tremendous role to play in while driving business, especially to the line of business, etc. And currently, in the current scheme of things, what's happening is the partner ecosystem who are rather very close to the ground today. They understand how technology is changing, because all the newer partners are approaching us to get into the company to understand what can be done. And when you talk to them, you understand that, look, how different they are. They are coming up with not just innovative products, but innovative pricing model, innovative SLA based approach, innovative outcome based, which you never thought of, correct? You could stand in front of the customer and demand. So today it's completely different. The customers are getting drawn to these kind of situations, solutions, etc., etc. And I think a partner ecosystem is best to get this to the corporate leaders, to say that, hey, why are you doing this? You can do this. Why aren't you thinking of this kind of a model? Like typically, for example, someone says, they're saying that, say dollar-based pricing, correct? This has now become a industry standard today, even in India. Why? Because customers are ready to pay in dollars. Earlier, they used to say, no, it has to be in INR. So, you need to get the conversion done. That was a traditional way of looking at things. But now today things have changed, because they are offering some innovative approaches to us. Pay by use, for example, or use, you use little bit now, pay later. And these things are becoming more and more attractive. And I think the partner ecosystems is doing a beautiful job to stitch the whole damn thing together. Okay. So the business to the technology is getting addressed beautifully by our partner ecosystem. That's why their role is more and more important.
Okay, so I'll add to that, took a cue from what Srikanth just mentioned. See, traditional companies have a very traditional way of thinking, right? I work for a very large company, 185-year-old, Schneider Electric, and we have our line of businesses, business units, R&D, supply chain factories, what have you. We have a very traditional way of thinking, and that with the changing times and in this fast-paced world of digitization, when we work with partners, innovative partners, startups, they will help induce freshness in your business models, in your line of thinking, which is in a way unheard of, which challenges the thinking process of the established companies and helps us to become more flexible, more agile.
Yeah, I mean, these partners are pushing us, or rather the large companies who have been doing business traditionally. But Shrikant, when you talked about the advantages, how about, so he talked about these companies are changing their mindset, changing the way they think about business, pricing models he talked about. So how difficult or easy it is to adapt to this new change, and what have you been doing to work with these partners? Is it easy for a small partner to come and work with you, and how are you adapting?
Yeah, so for I think it's not about ease or whatever, because I think for a very process-oriented company, any kind of partners can come in and work. But I think it's got to do with whether the fresh partner, and I'll just call them fresh or new partner, and the larger companies, how well they are aligned. And today, what is the most important thing is, how are you addressing a business problem? It's all got to do with that. Nobody thinks of what cost you are saving. Today, what benefits you are getting to your customer's customer is the question that is getting asked. And for that, if you have to come and bring some innovative partners, agile partners, fast partners together, I think it's the best thing to happen. For example, today's world is all about show and tell. Correct? If someone says, how does the customer say, hey, I have this problem, can you do a hackathon? Correct? Can you put your solution in my premise, work it for 15 days, and then I will convert that to a requirement, etc., etc. So through the hackathon, you are actually, picking up the requirements, which was never the case at some point of time. Why is that so? Because the customer themselves are trying to learn and unlearn. Because their customers are changing. Like we were just discussing today, some time back. The customer base is changing so much. It's no longer 45 to 50 in a payment industry. Suddenly it has become 18 to 23. Their requirements are completely different. They don't want a phone call. They are very happy to do a chat kind of this thing and say, okay, fine, I'm done. 2 lines is good enough for them to understand.
And
For
India
us,
is a young country.
India is a young country. So how do you adapt to that? I think some of these challenges are addressed automatically when the company thinks, big or small, are you focused on your customer? If you are not, if you are very internally focused, then alignment is a problem.
Very well.
Otherwise, everybody can easily come and gel together.
So alignment is the key. If you can address your customer's problem or provide a solution which they need, then I think you welcome partners to work with you.
Absolutely.
So Devashish, innovation is a big part of what you guys do, and also some of the past companies you work for. So do you think partner ecosystem can help accelerate and broaden the innovation? Have you had such opportunities with the ecosystem partners?
So I'll answer that question by adding to what Shrikant just said. Shrikant talked about customer centricity, right? As long as you're customer focused, you get the bearings right. There is one more additional factor, a very key factor, which I always insist and persist upon, which is the culture of the organization, right? Your organization, right? How are you aligned with the partner ecosystem? Are you pro partnerships? Is your organization even aligned to work with external partners, or you mentioned that internally focused, and so how open are you guys when it comes to working with external partners? So that is a very key factor which plays a very important role in making sure that what you do with your partners is going to make any difference or not. So coming back to innovation, innovation is a cliche which we all know. People are talking about innovation left, right, and center. But then, if you really want to do innovation, right, beyond the cliche, you would really have to do something which impacts your customer, adds value to your offering, and which you can do on your own. Then that's great. But then, if your cycle to create something new is longer, which you generally face in a large organization, then you need to partner with smaller companies, startups, or agile companies who are able to turn around these things quicker and able to add value. At the end of the day, again, it's all about competitive advantage, right? If your joint value proposition which you're creating with your partner is not adding any competitive advantage to the combined offer, then again, it's not going to work.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so internal focused. First of all, that thought process has to change,
Absolutely.
and then it should complement, even if you're co-innovating. So Preeti, you work for a fintech. Can I say startup? Is that a
Yeah.
startup?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you see the role of partner ecosystem? Are you in that stage where you're already talking to partners, and I know this is one of your key charters, but do you see an opportunity for building that ecosystem?
Yeah, so first of all, I don't know whether there is any startup in the crowd here, in the audience here, but if there is, yes. If there is, I just want to say kudos to us. We just survived a pandemic, or did we? I don't know. So, but yeah, as a startup, I think right from the word go, we need partners. It's not just at the growth stage, it's also, when we are ideating, when we are launching, validating, right? And then growth obviously comes a little later, right? So every stage we need partners, right? And when we say partners, it has to be like a seamless effort, which means that we have to think it through. We need to know point A, we need to know point Z, right? And we need to know the what, how, and when of the partner system. And when I say what, how, and when, what kind of partner do you need, right? What is the partner profile? What does it look like? Who is the ideal partner for you? That's the what part. How are you going to be establishing these partnerships, right? First of all, creating new ones on the list, and second, already nurturing, keeping the existing ones warm, right? So there has to be a consolidation of all your partner alliances, and I also feel that at some point we need to index them, right? We need to know when to use who, right? So for that, I think very important for us to put weights and measures. Also, I think, see our success stories with certain partners, and that's how you know when to use which partner, right? That's how it usually works, right? So as an organization, I can give you an example that, our organization Indifend, revolves around, so our core offering is, partner enabled. So we have a central platform, and around that is where we have built this entire marketplace or, partner ecosystem, which facilitates us to give, payments, loans, and investments through the partner system itself. So you see, our business model itself strives on, the partner ecosystem.
Yeah.
So, adding to what Preeti said, for a large organization, whether it's a product or a service company, I believe that there are two kind of innovations which exist today, right? One will be incremental, right, which is what we call as innovation at the, and this is a specific Schneider Electric lingo which I'm using here. We do two types of innovations. One is innovation at the core, which means it is incremental and breakthrough, and the other is innovation at the edge, right, which is radical and disruptive. So I am part of the innovation at the edge team, which does these kind of innovation, which is radical and disruptive and really can make a difference in the final offer which goes to the customer.
Are you in a position to share some example, any of you? I mean, unless it is confidential or...
Well, I can. Schneider has so many businesses, buildings is one of them, right? And building management system, there are various players in the market, and Schneider was a very late entrant into the market, and that too through an acquisition. So what we needed is that this is how, when we say fast pace, I'm going to take a real life example of what fast pace means, right? Even 5 years ago we used to talk about smart buildings, smart offices, and workspace efficiency. That itself has evolved in the last 3 to 4 years. No one is talking about smart buildings anymore, right? People are talking about the next level. So we partnered with a startup company, right, Synaptra, Bangalore based, and they helped us to redefine our buildings offer, right? And how do they do that? In this BMS market, what is most critical is the integration. So this startup is based on, they have worked all this life over the last 3 years in solving the most critical problem in buildings, which is integration, because you're working with several systems, HVAC and lighting and DG sets and elevators and what have you. So how do you integrate to ensure that even if it is the old system or a new system, it is seamless for you to enjoy the benefits of the new workplace efficiency and indoor air quality and hot desking and what have you. So this is how we redefined our offer, and this is how the new innovative part was embedded into our existing offer.
Very, very interesting example, and thanks for sharing that, because that gives us a perspective. And I will touch upon pandemic. We talked about pandemic in the beginning, and every one of us has gone through this pandemic. During the pandemic, the businesses needed to respond quickly to unpredictable demands. If I take one example, telemedicine was one such solution which adopted very quickly, which helped in scaling the treatment of patients, while at the same time reducing the burden on hospitals by providing home care, right? So how did you respond? I mean, it could be customer solution or even solving the problems of your employees within your organization during pandemic. So would you be able to share any story or example from your organization for such a situation?
I
I think
share one. Go ahead.
ironic that it may sound, but COVID turned out to be, let's say, a boon for certain startups, for certain corporates, right? For some, they had to kind of rechange their business models or redo their business models because they were facing the detrimental, effects. Some actually created new models because of COVID. We saw so many new ideas emerging, right? We as an organization, what we did was, 19, before the COVID started, we had a business plan. We had a plan A, which we were very diligently sticking to, right? Come COVID, we started making certain tweaks to our plan because it wasn't working, right? And then we decided that, we are just going to let plan A go and we'll try to follow plan B, C, D, E, F, And for some time we were even working in the lights on mode. Like people call it the frugal mode, but believe me, there's nothing frugal about it. It's lights on, So we even moved to that mode. So I think at the end of it, we were able to kind of, because we were agile and because we could make those quick tweaks, we could kind of sail through.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
In fact, while we speak of customer experience, there is a lot of talks on employee experience. Correct. Without a very good employee experience, it's very difficult to deliver a good customer experience because you need to address your own internal employees.
Absolutely.
So the way this entire onboarding process has evolved, shaped, reshaped, it's just amazing. Gone are those days where you have to take 5 copies of your CV, of your original mark sheets, of your degree mark sheets, all your credentials, and go department by department and give a simple thing like opening of your PF accounts, opening of your superannuation account for a new joinee. I know how many forms I have filled in. I filled in 3 forms at least to start a PF form because that's how it used to be. Everything is now on just those 3-4 pages completely. The entire onboarding process. Today, there's no need to submit any original. Everything is done. Verification is done online, digitally, which is like amazing. So what happens is, one candidate, say an onboarding of one person used to take say half a day. Today the same person gets onboarded in less than 5 minutes. So what happens is at the same time you are able to onboard something like 5,000 people on one day, which was how do you do it? Unthinkable at some point. So I think that's going to stay here. Organizations have realized that it's very easy to onboard now. There is no that recruitment cycle has come down so short.
New norm.
That's a new norm, and I would say that's one of the biggest innovations that this industry has done.
Yeah, absolutely. And this time has made us more human and more receptive towards things, towards people. I am going to ask one last question, and this is about a survey done by Accenture, where 76% of business leaders believe current business models will be unrecognizable in the next 5 years. So, what is your reaction to that? And if you tend to agree, what should service providers do to stay relevant?
So we are not a service provider, so I'll try to give a very short answer to this. We used to talk about people, process, right, and technology. So I would say that in the coming years, it is technology which is going to drive, and define your processes, which will help your people to, align accordingly, right? And we have seen, the effects of digital transformation and the acceleration of the digital transformation because of COVID. I think this is only going to continue. Business models will also change, and it will only help organizations to become more customer centric and far more aligned with the customer expectations.
So, Hari, please take a shot of all the people. Yeah, I completely agree.
We live in a dynamic world, right? What is current today will be dated tomorrow, right? So what is important as an organization or as a corporate, whatever the size is, right? Business agility is what it takes to kind of move and sail through problems, right? And of course, having a nice partners ecosystem, woven around you kind of helps you, take that jolt with a better cushion, right? So they say, right, somebody said somewhere that if you want to go far, you go alone. But, you have to go with partners in the end.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, I will invite you to ask any questions you have. Feel free to ask our panel. Anybody?
Srikanth, this question is more for Srikanth. See, today, we have multiple partners for the same solution. We have multiple partners for the same solution. How are you managing so many partners? I mean, today it is like overload of information or overload of partners in one sense. And second, Priti, there are very thin lines today, like you mentioned, startups or the fintechs, where they want to keep the lights on. They are talking to the customers directly as well as to the partners. Is this not creating a conflict or friction amongst the whole ecosystem?
Yeah, I think
I don't know if both the questions are clear.
Yeah. So you are right, and that's not going to change. You're going to see more and more partners coming in, more and more startups being developed, and more entrepreneurial, I think economy being built, especially across the world, not just in India but across the world. Now it's up to the organization how they blend, take multiple solutions together, or they just look at one, which is the traditional mode, right? You don't look at multiple stacks. You say, let me just look at one person, and then it's very easy for me to manage that. Is that, or can we say that, can I have pieces of solution by all these innovative partners? Because these innovative partners brings a completely different concept on table. As I said, the pricing model is different, their engagement models are different, they are completely contactless, correct? And the way they throw, offerings on the table, it's very difficult to even, this thing that something like this exists. Which is what is, something new per se. So the solution team which is there, unless they adapt to this change, that there are multiple partners who can give better solutions, better this, I think engaging with these smaller partners will take some more time, in my opinion. Okay. And the other aspect of it is, we are still in an RFP bound world. There is a requirement which comes, and we still need to address those requirements, and there is somebody smart person who will come and say that, oh, it has to be in the Gartner's top quadrant.
Absolutely.
So the innovative guys are still catching up there. Unless they have references, they are not going to reach them. So it's always a catch-22 situation. How do you get yourself qualified by the customer. Do I go with the smaller partners or do I go with the tried and tested partners? But I think it's going to change. And also the tried and tested partners are also themselves coming up with multiple solutions. So if I look at HP, if I look at Dell, if I look at Splunk, if I look at Palo Alto Networks, each of them, the kind of solutions that they have got, or Micro Focus, for example, or BMC, the kind of solutions that they have got is unbelievable. The way they have adapted to change is just unbelievable. So for us to go through those solutions itself will take some time. So I think somebody who understands this and is able to fit the requirement, again, customer is in the center. And believe me, they are all talking to the customer. Those days are gone that, they will channelize through the larger partners. No, they are directly getting, called by the customer, and their presence is already there. And I'm experiencing it day in and day out.
Okay.
So to answer your question to me, I think the focus is definitely to acquire that customer, right? It could be any model. It could be either directly talking to a customer or going through a partner. See, the efforts go in really interacting through the partner, right? Because what happens is when you're talking through the partner, initially the partner may not know how to approach the customers. So you literally have to, initially handhold the partner. It's just an extension of you, right? Your partner has to be an extension of you, right? And for that, if you really need to kind of handhold, do all the trainings, go with their sales team, right? You have to do that because it's like that. It's like the train engine. Till you put some coal into it, it doesn't move. Once obviously it starts moving is when you kind of can sit and relax a little bit, right? So I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, partly, but what I was meant was more, is it not creating a friction? Because I know in the
Friction within the organization or friction
Amongst the partners.
the fintech wants to survive and wants to back us.
No, I don't.
Time they want to work with partners and then they go through partners. So keeping both the tracks on.
I have not seen any friction. Personally, I feel that everybody is conscious about co-innovating, coexisting. See, I think that coexisting word is very important. The proposition has to be, beneficial to both the sides. And till the proposition is clear, I don't think anybody has any problems with it.
I think the best example is like, Oracle and Microsoft coming together.
Yeah. I mean, even the
Correct. I
competitive-
mean, they're hardcore, cutthroat competition. But then they still managed to find a space while there is larger friction, but they have still managed to resolve some of their issues and bring out some joint offering. And that's what is going to happen. And people who get that together, frictionless, I think the market will expand for them. You will create a lot of billionaires, a lot of wealth for those partners. People who believe in friction will just get buried.
Sunil, a quick response to your question, if I've understood it correctly, is that conflicts will happen with the partners or similar partners, and that is where partner management, alliance management, and the skill of the partner manager, alliance manager comes in. How do you resolve those conflicts and still survive with the typical word, which is co-opetition? You compete as well as cooperate, but how do you also manage similar competing partners? It all depends on the skill of the alliance manager and the skill of the organization. If you really want to retain those partners, you have to find a way to manage and maintain that relationship.
Okay, anybody else has any questions?
Let me ask this. My question has got a lot to do with what we do as a business that we're trying to build. And a lot of what we're trying to build is supported by a couple of statements from Gartner and McKinsey, right, saying that the future enterprises are going to be a lot more sourcing through an online mode rather than an offline mode of interactions with the partner ecosystem, right? And we started it, and then these statements that we heard supported our claim, and then we're going ahead with it. But do you folks believe, with your experiences now, pre-COVID to the COVID and post-COVID world, do you foresee that the enterprises are going to be a lot more interacting with the partner ecosystem in a virtual mode rather than a very physical mode that we all got used to? Fintech has actually shaped it pretty decently, right? to move into a virtual mode. Right? No more the small startups don't go and sit with the banks anymore. The fintech world has changed. But the IT world, do you guys see that change happening in the near future?
I think on paper, yes, but in reality, I think to a certain time, we still need to be face to face. Is what I feel.
Yeah, I think the face to face, the human to human is never going to go away. Correct, which is the the basis on which this universe has been built. In my personal opinion, yes, the online world is a convenience. You have just one day to shop. You have just one day to go through something. Online is just fantastic. You don't want to travel from, say, one end of the city to the other to find out. Oh, let me just go, take my family around and do it. You can do it at the convenience of your home. And all the customers are, all the product companies or the other service providers are now offering this. Right? I mean, 2 years back when I first met my very close friend who's based here, is seated here. There's one lady who said that we can do online sales of cars sitting at home. Okay, you know whom I'm referring to. And 2 days back, a very close friend of mine who celebrated his 50th birthday purchased the same car online. Okay, and the person said, yes, this car weighs 1800 kilos. I mean, in another world, you would have said, okay, take me to a weighbridge and show me where it is. But he just looked at the size of the car and felt it and said, yes, okay, I believe it is 1800. So see, the perception of the customers have also changed over to convenience. But what did he do? I will come to your showroom. I still want to see the car.
Yeah.
I still want to see whether there is a scratch on it. I still want to see, you said there is so much of boot space. Will I be able to sit? So he still went to see the car. So that physical, this thing he has not yet, this thing, but the decision he has already made in his mind.
Correct.
And that's what the online has.
So the process of discovering and evaluation is moving online.
Absolutely.
The purchase is what is still going to be more of an offline.
That's right. I'll give you another example. I come from Bombay, and there's one thing which I miss is the vada pav. Okay, in Bangalore you don't get the vada pav, the pav
The pav.
especially, not the vada but the pav, because the pav here in Bangalore is sweet. Okay, so during the pandemic, we found out there is a gentleman known as Gajanan Agencies, and this is an agency from Pune, small time guy, and he's put up a website. He's called a nice college guy and put up a nice website for himself, and we are fans of that website. Why? Because it gives us the best things that we want. We can misal pav, of course. He gives that laddi, 70 pav laddi,
Yeah,
once in a week he gives. And that's
the
the
whole
authentic Bombay pav. I would have never thought in my 18 years of stay in Bangalore that I will get a Bombay type pav.
So those experiences are moving to the enterprises?
Absolutely.
The enterprise is the way we behave in enterprise?
It should be. It should be moving on to an enterprise. For example, let's look at a corporate scenario. Promotions, for example. Right? Boss always says, I need to see him.
Yeah.
I need to talk to him or her together. But today that's changed. You be where you are, right? I will take your class online. I mean, literally class online. Correct. And what has also changed is the timing. I mean, the person who takes your class can be anywhere in the world, which was not possible at all.
So I'll give you a very short answer to this. The world is moving towards a virtual world, right? But I somehow read your question from a vendor supplier perspective as well when you meant enterprise. So you can continue comfortably to deal virtually with your existing vendors, suppliers, and customers with whom you have already established a relationship. But if you want to establish a
with a
new
new
relationship, I would agree with Preeti that nothing can beat a face-to-face in-person meeting, right? That's my short answer to you for that question.
So my startup add-on to this is I've had 5 online meetings with a particular customer trying to explain him or her the proposition that we are trying to kind of sell, right? But it doesn't work. The one face-to-face meeting that you have with that customer takes care of it all.
So you're right, you shorten the cycle. So what used to happen in 30 days may be happening in say 15 days. correct? It also depends on how much you pursue today. You have many things now to reach out to the customer. Nobody looks at emails, by the way. Everybody is digital. They have what they want on their app shows what they want to see.
Yep.
If you have ordered a medicine online, I'm sure you will get 5 different
Pain points.
pain points. So it's both the models is here to stay. Is here to stay.
Can we,
Hey, hi.
Rohit has
Please
come.
come, please come.
Yeah.
can we kind of conclude this into something like that it is easier to do commodity product procurement online, but if it is more of a solution thing or if it is not just pure commodity, then a face-to-face
Agreed.
interaction is
Yes.
more necessary.
See, further to what Srikanth mentioned, okay, I'd also like to add, there were times when events happened outside and you would have an entire contingent going. But today, everything is happening online. You really don't need to be there in person.
Yeah, you're right. We just did our innovation summit, which used to be a pretty big, show and tell business in all the large major countries for Scientific. And in every large country, whether it is US, France, Germany, Australia, India, China, it's all happening virtually. And last week we did our innovation summit in India. It was a 3-day event, only for 3 hours in the first hour. It was all done on an online platform, and the online platforms have evolved so much that they can deal with that kind of audience and bandwidth and the number of people
You know,
who are
earlier
attending.
you would have a whole lot of people traveling. Yes, meetings would get fixed. But even today, you can just send things around.
You're right, sir. To a large extent, if it is a product, if it is packed, sealed, correct. Now people have started believing on what is written on the pack cover. They don't feel that okay, packet bahar kuch aur hai, andar kuch aur hai. It is those kind of things have gone away, which is a good thing, which has happened. When it is solution, when you have to integrate 4-5 things together, if all 5 of us have to come together to build something, that's when I think the face-to-face is better, because I think then the customer is able to see which is the dominant solution, how it is being done, etc. Or if you look at an industrial product, if it is a turbine, for example, there's no way you can buy it online. You can see the specification. Customer will say, okay, you can do an online reference check. You need not go overseas to do your check. But the actual proof of the pudding is you have to get it online. Face to face.
So guys, that's a very good discussion. Thank you guys. And when I pick up some of the words and some of the points we talked about co-innovation. We talked about inward thinking or inward focus, and also start looking at the solutions which are being innovated by the smaller partners. And you give some very good examples of the companies you guys are working with and some unbelievable solutions they have built. Freshness, right? They should be able to bring value. You should be able to address your customers' issues and provide solutions. Show and tell, of course, that's key. If you look at where we are right now, we are in uncharted waters today because of pandemic, economic upheaval coupled with rapid technology change, especially because of COVID, rising customer expectations and more. So these developments have impacted the world of commerce, including all the business relationships we have been managing. One notable relationship change is between large technology providers and the strategic partners, with the latter having more options today. So it's not just the large companies, right? Even the smaller partners have option to go to Microsoft, go to Oracle, go to everybody and work with them. So we actually have to start fighting for that share. So in order to achieve and sustain value over time, collaboration across different models is key. Moving from fragmented partners working in silos to cooperative relationships across multiple channels and at scale. Hence, partner ecosystem plays a very important role. I think you guys have justified that. So thank you Srikanth, thank you Preeti, and thank you Debashish for your time. I know you guys had some personal commitments, but you made it. And thank you all of you to come and hear this conversation, and hope to see you more. This is the first time we are doing a face-to-face event after 2 or 3 years, I think. So thank you so much, and we'll wrap up this session and we'll continue further. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.